Good morning and welcome to another edition of Research Fantasy Presents our MLB DFS pitcher picks for Saturday, June 10th, 2017. Admittedly, it has not been a good run over the past 2 or 3 days. Last night was the first night in about a month where I couldn't even cash in cash games. My vision on the slate was just completely different from what it should have been. I make the mistake sometimes of lacking confidence in myself and seeing sometimes what other people in the industry are saying and latching on to it, and it led me to Bryce Harper, who my projection sheets, if I run 30% exposure in my tournament lineups, Bryce Harper was in 2% of my lineups. So that right there tells you that my projection system says no go for Bryce Harper. Didn't have really any of the Nationals up there aside from Matt Wieters. But nonetheless, hey, this is the guy that, got to try to be on. Just got to get myself outside of that. I've been doing this long enough that I have success when I listen to myself, or more importantly, when I listen to the numbers, but just still, again, after I correct problem A, it works for 2 days, and then I go back, and now I have problem B. So I really have to figure out what it's going to take. Maybe I need to just start actually playing in, like, the big dog tournaments where I couldn't stomach having listened to someone else. When I'm just doing $0.25, $3, $5 tournaments, it doesn't sting as much. Maybe I need to really put myself in a situation where it really stings. Weird day in golf. Have a lot of lineups with Danny Lee, Peter Uihlein, Kyle Stanley was kind of freaking out last night. Stanley started the wrong direction. Uihlein headed the wrong direction. Lee just couldn't get going. Sitting at tied 71st. Danny Lee didn't look like he was going to make the tournament. Peter Uihlein bogeys the last hole, dropping him to 1 above par, sending both he and Danny Lee over the cut line. Can't tell you how excited I am about that, but we're here to talk baseball. Tough slate. Just looking through the names here, we've got probably four pitchers to really strongly look at. It's Sales, Severino, Wood, Stroman. Let me actually do this a little bit differently. I'm going to kind of look in tiers or just go through the list since there's not that many. I'm not considering David Holmberg against Cleveland. Yeah, I know that Asher Wojciechowski had a decent game last time out against St. Louis. That team was just limping through that series for whatever reason. Don't expect him to have the same amount of luck against the Dodgers tonight. Chris Tillman has been pretty bad this year. Again, he had his first outing was the only good outing he had. He's averaging about 4 runs allowed, so got to have some Yankee exposure. Junior Guerra, don't hate him, but I just don't think this is going to be the situation where I use him. This Diamondback lineup in Arizona, just not the route I want to go. Zach Godley, again, decent enough pitcher. I can understand some exposure in tournaments. I think my starting point tonight is going to be Josh Tomlin. Now, we did just watch Corey Kluber struggle a little bit. It's important to remember, working his way back from an injury. The night before, we just watched Jake Odorizzi basically pitch a gem, gave up 3 runs that were the result of 1 bad pitch to Avisail Garcia. Not really the worst outing. The deal with Tomlin is he's very up, he's very down. But he can come through. He can put up the strikeout numbers. He's had a couple of good games this year, literally just a couple. One against Kansas City, one against Minnesota. Has played the White Sox in his first game, and he put up a sparkling minus 15.7. That in itself is going to shoot ownership off of him because people don't like to deal with that mess. Is it a risk? Absolutely is. I do think you could see Zach Godley seeing slightly more ownership. But the guy I really think you'll see getting the ownership is Ariel Miranda. I like Ariel Miranda. He's been much improved over the last month and a half or so. Started out a little bit rocky, but again, he's a tumultuous player as well. had struggled with the home run ball, but really it's been much more sparse. He managed to go to Colorado, not give up a home run, leave there with only 2 runs allowed. Didn't make it too far into the game. Only 5 innings pitched, 3 hits allowed, 2 runs, couldn't get the strikeouts going. That's a killer. Went to Tampa Bay, Tampa Bay visited him, turned it around with a 9 strikeout, 1 earned run performance, 9 inning complete game. Can't expect that, but at 7,400, if he's able to get you 17 to 20 points, which I think is feasible tonight, he makes a good play. Then you have the top tier. It's Verlander, Stroman, Wood, Severino, Sale. Verlander at this point, just someone I can't trust, even though I might trust the Boston Red Sox even less. There's no team in baseball that I put in my roster less than the Boston Red Sox. The only time I've done it this year was just a gut call against Irvin Santana, and it worked out. Any other time I've used them, it's been a good matchup, and these guys cannot get it done when they should. Just can't do it. So, hands clean of the Boston Red Sox. If they score 15 runs tonight, I'll just eat my money again, but I am not touching these guys. Marcus Stroman against Seattle, definitely a lineup that's struggling. He gets the benefit of a pitcher, the good pitcher's park. Just not a lot to really like about this guy, though. The strikeouts really aren't there. Yes, he does have a 9 and 10 strikeout game this year, but you're looking at mediocrity. 4, 5, 6, 1, 2. Ain't getting it done. The Seattle team does pack enough womp that it does bother me a little. And he's really, other than the opening game where he pitched a complete game against the horrible Angels, he's yet to be able to go past 7, and recently it's been past 6. So just not enough time on the field. Alex Wood, great situation, has been a stellar pitcher this year. Would not mind using him at all. You got to kind of figure out, is there going to be a pitch count? I highly doubt it. Don't mind him. Severino is probably the guy I'm going to in this price range. Baltimore, team that just loves to shut down and roll over for no reason really whatsoever. But he's got enough strikeout upside. Last 4 games, 7, 7, 8, 7. One of those games was against Baltimore, went 6 in the 3rd inning, 27.5 DraftKings points. Good enough for me, because at the top with Chris Sale, it really has less to do about his numbers lately, more to do about the matchup. This is horrible against Detroit. Detroit is not a good matchup for Chris Sale. Detroit destroys left-handed pitching this year. Their numbers were eerily similar to what the White Sox were, and Sale had an awful game, his worst of the year against them. The strikeout total is going to be there. Like, if he goes 5 innings, he's going to strike out 9 or 10 guys. But the big concern is, looking at the hits allowed, 6-10, 6-7, 3-5, 3-2. He's mitigating some of the loss, but Alex Wood, Luis Severino, just really too much of a discount on a small slate where, the bats I like from the Yankees are expensive. The bats I like from Arizona are expensive. So I think that it's probably going to be Severino for me. 3 top tournament pitchers tonight, and I'm holding my breath with 1, don't get me wrong. Josh Tomlin, Ariel, Miranda, Luis Severino. Again, I don't mind Alex Wood. I don't mind Zach Godley. I wish I could do the videos more like this more often, but it's just a time thing. There's only 6 games on the night slate, so it does give me the ability to go a little bit deeper. Thanks for watching. Make sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel below. Head over to researchfantasy.com. Check out what we've got going on there. Like us on Facebook at Research Fantasy. Follow us on Twitter at Research and Win, and join us again tomorrow.